we have printed out this layout first, and then we're going to cut the pieces one by one, and then we're going to cut out all these recycled boxes to put the pieces of paper on it so that it's more sturdy, so when people play with it, it won't bend as much. We also have markers to color it later.
So this GeoBoard is for 12 years and above, and this GeoBoard can be played by 2 to 4 players. The learning outcomes of this GeoBoard is, at the end of this activity, students will be able to create a tessellation using 2D shapes, name 3 types of tessellation, which is regular, semi-regular and non-regular, explain the definition of tessellation, and draw different types of tessellation. Next, we will introduce the educational theories that involve in our GeoBoard. The first theory is cognitivism.
Students are able to better understand the concept of tessellation through this board game as they explore tessellation through the concrete materials available. They build knowledge about tessellation through exploring different shapes that can be made up into tessellations, naming tessellations, what kind of shape will not be able to form tessellations, and different types of tessellations.
The next theory is constructivism.
When learning about tessellation through this board game, players may stumble upon words or knowledge which might be new to them. Players then get to construct new knowledge based on their prior knowledge when they search the words or knowledge through inquiry. For instance, some question cards require players to name the tessellation. Players who do not know how to name tessellations can search online on how to do so. They may know that there are 3 different types of tessellations, but how do they name them? By searching online or asking their teacher how to name tessellations, they are building new knowledge upon their prior knowledge. Another example would be naming the shapes they are using to build the tessellation. Players know that 2D shapes are named based on their number of sides, but their knowledge of the name might be limited from triangles up to decagons. 2 of the shapes used in this board game have more than 10 sides. To find out the name of the shapes, students can find out using available resources like textbooks or the internet.
The next is Van Hill's model. Level 0 visualization. Players see geometric shapes as a whole and are able to recognize and name the shapes. For example, we are using the prototypical triangle in this tessellation board game. Students are able to recognize this shape immediately. A question in the magic cards also requires players to identify the type of tessellation. A regular tessellation only involves a regular polygon, hence players are able to identify what shape is used in the tessellation. Level 1 Analysis. Players identify and describe the properties of shapes in this board game. Some of the question cards require players to draw tessellation based on the shapes given. Players need to be able to describe the properties of the shapes before constructing the tessellation. Therefore, they are required to analyze and describe the properties before they could put the shapes together to form a tessellation. Level 2 of Van Hill's model, Informal Deduction. Players perceive relationships among the 2D shapes that they need in order to construct a tessellation. Players get to see the relationships of different shapes and use it to arrange them for it to become a tessellation. In addition to that, questions that require the players to construct a tessellation also encourages the players to think of level 2 because they need to be able to see the relationships of the given shapes in order for them to think about how they can put the shapes together to create a tessellation.
Each player will draw Genie and Aladdin shapes from the Cave of Wonders box. Each player will get a total of 7 shapes from that box. The first player will choose the starting point and place a shape there. Then, the following player will start connecting the shapes to create a tessellation. Players can only place a shape that is connected to the edge of one shape on the tessellation that they are creating. If there is no shape that could fit in the tessellation, you can take a card. If you get a magic card, which is a question card, try and answer it. If you get it right, you can choose a Raja or Jasmine shape. Feel free to use Abu's shapes when needed. It connects the hexagon shapes. When you use an Abu shape, you have to say Abu out loud. If you don't, you have to draw 3 more shapes. When you only have 1 shape left, you need to say Aladdin. When you finish all of your shapes, you have to say Arabian Nights. The first player to finish all of his or her shapes wins the game.